All right, let's dive into Good Work, Reclaiming Your Inner Ambition by Paul Millard. If you're trying to cut to the chase and figure out this whole fulfilling work thing, and ditching the whole traditional career path, this is the place to be. This book covers it all. Millard actually quit his consulting job. It was a great job, but he quit it and moved to Taiwan to figure this all out. So I think we're in for some good stuff.
Yeah, this exploration of good work, I mean, it's pretty fascinating. It's about finding purpose and like a real sense of aliveness in what you're doing. And that
Hmm.
can be different from having a good job, right? Like a job that pays the bills but doesn't necessarily light you up. The cool thing is, Millard chronicles his own journey and his wife's journey through the book.
Which makes it super relatable for anyone who's, kind of on that same quest for a more fulfilling work life. One story that really caught my eye was when Millard was working on this consulting project,
Hmm.
and he just felt this like deep sense of unease, almost like a this isn't right kind of feeling. And he realized he needed a huge change. So to figure things out, he actually like downsized his life, reduced his expenses significantly to give himself the time and the space to pursue other interests.
That's a perfect example of what he calls work scripts. Those are the unconscious beliefs we all have about work that we kind of absorb from, society, our families. They kind of run in the background like programs dictating how we approach work. It could be something like you have to work long hours to be successful, or that taking breaks means you're not productive.
I see what you mean. So these scripts can really shape our whole perspective on work.
Definitely.
Okay, so speaking of journeys, Millard's wife, Angie, she also has a really interesting story. Initially, she was on a traditional career path, but she found it unfulfilling. So Angie decided to try out all sorts of different things, like fitness training, even podcasting, before finally discovering her passion for writing.
I think both Paul and Angie's experiences really highlight the importance of embracing uncertainty because finding that good work, it's rarely a straight line. It takes, stepping outside your comfort zone and being open to exploring different paths. It's what Millard refers to as finding a positive edge, where the motivation comes from doing work that's inherently rewarding to you rather than just chasing external achievements.
It's about trusting the process
Yeah.
and letting go of those societal expectations of what success should look like.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because Millard's good work, the writing, it wasn't an instant success story. He even turned down a big book deal to keep creative control over his work, putting his values ahead of financial gain.
It makes you wonder, what are those activities that really make you come alive? What are those things you can do for hours and completely lose track of time? Those are some serious clues to finding your good work.
Okay, I love that. But how do we actually figure out what work scripts we're running? The ones that might be holding us back?
Well, it starts with awareness, like really tuning into your thoughts and feelings about work. Ask yourself, what do I believe about success? Where did those beliefs come from? And most importantly, are they actually helping me? Or are they limiting my potential? For instance, maybe you think you constantly have to be hustling to be successful, or that taking a break is a sign of weakness. Those could be work scripts preventing you from finding that real fulfillment.
Wow, that's so insightful. It's like we're uncovering these hidden roadblocks on the path to finding good work. It makes me think of that phrase Millard uses, the long, slow, stupid, fun way.
Exactly. It's about letting go of that need for instant gratification. The quick fixes. Instead, it's about finding a sustainable approach to work, something that's going to bring you long-term fulfillment and joy, even if it means going against the grain.
So instead of searching for that overnight success, we should be focusing on building something meaningful that lasts.
Precisely. Embrace the journey, even when it seems a little stupid or unconventional to others, because that path might not always be clear or predictable, but that's where the real growth and the real discoveries happen.
It's about having the courage to define success for yourself,
Hmm.
even if it doesn't fit the mold of what society tells us it should be.
Exactly. And that approach, it can actually make the whole journey more enjoyable because when you're focused on the process
Yeah.
and the inherent rewards of the work itself, it becomes less about external validation and more about genuine personal fulfillment.
It's almost like finding that flow state where you lose track of time. You're completely immersed in what you're doing. It's not driven by pressure or
Yeah.
external expectations, but by a love for the work itself.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. It's about aligning your actions with your passions and your values. And that's where the magic really happens. It's a journey too, it's ongoing. Because your interests and values might change over time. It's all part of the process. So just stay connected with yourself and be open to how your definition of good work might evolve with you.
That makes a lot of sense. So what if you're not quite ready for a big career change? How can we bring this good work mindset into our current jobs?
Hmm. Well, I think the first step is to try to find those parts of your current role that already align with your interests or skills. Maybe there are opportunities to take on new challenges, or maybe you can get involved in projects that really light you up,
Huh.
or even find ways to mentor or support colleagues, something that brings you that satisfaction.
It's like finding those hidden pockets of good work right there in our current setup.
Exactly. And if transforming your entire job just isn't possible right now, remember, good work can exist in other parts of your life too. Think about your hobbies, relationships, or even how you're involved in your community. These can be amazing ways to express your passions and make a positive impact.
That's so true. I love how Millard expands our whole idea of what work can be. It's not just confined to our careers.
Right. And he also emphasizes the non-monetary rewards that come from good work. It's about appreciating the journey, the connections you make, the impact you're having, even if it doesn't necessarily translate into a bigger paycheck.
That definitely resonates with me. There's something really empowering about putting your well-being and your values ahead of chasing just financial gain.
It's about challenging that message we often hear, that we constantly need to strive for more, more, more. Instead, it's about creating a life that feels balanced and fulfilling, where work is an integral part of who you are, not just a way to make money.
Absolutely. So what about that fear of leaving money on the table? Turning down those opportunities that seem financially great, but don't quite align with our values.
Millard actually talks about facing that same dilemma himself. He had to walk away from some pretty lucrative opportunities because they didn't align with his vision of good work. It takes a lot of courage to trust your gut and choose that genuine fulfillment over a bigger paycheck.
It must have been a tough decision. But it's such an important message. Finding good work isn't always about that corporate climb or that huge income.
Exactly. It's about creating a life that feels true to your deepest values and your aspirations, even if it doesn't fit that conventional mold or goes against the norm.
It reminds me of another concept Millard brings up, seeing your work as it is. What does that actually mean?
It's about approaching your work with a sense of mindfulness. Without judgment, you acknowledge your successes, but you also learn from your mistakes. Let go of that need to be perfect. Embrace the imperfections. That's what makes the journey unique.
So it's about letting go of that constant self-criticism and allowing yourself to grow from every experience, the good and the bad.
You got it. That shift in perspective can be so freeing, especially in this world that's obsessed with productivity and achievement.
Mm.
Millard reminds us good work isn't about reaching some unattainable ideal, but about fully engaging in the process with all its ups and downs.
Speaking of engagement, how do we actually know when we found our good work? What's that feeling?
Millard suggests paying attention to those moments when you feel truly absorbed in your work, when time just seems to disappear. It's that sense of flow, where you feel energized and completely present in what you're doing. It shouldn't feel like a constant struggle or grind.
It's like finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where your skills and your passions and your purpose all come together, and you can create something that's both meaningful and impactful.
Exactly. And this journey, it looks different for everyone. What constitutes good work for me might be totally different for you. There's no single right answer.
So it's about trusting your own internal compass and letting your intuition guide you towards that fulfilling work.
Absolutely. Which brings us to Millard's final point, reclaiming your inner ambition.
Ooh, I love that phrase. What does that really mean?
It's about reconnecting with that innate drive to create, to contribute, to make a positive impact on the world. It's about reigniting that spark inside of you, the one that might have been dimmed by societal pressures or limiting beliefs.
So it's not about ambition in that traditional sense,
Yeah.
climbing the corporate ladder or getting all the external validation. It's about pursuing work that truly aligns with your passions and your purpose.
You nailed it. It's about defining success for yourself and creating a life that feels both meaningful and authentic to you.
Millard outlines 10 key takeaways from the book. They perfectly capture this whole message. Should we go through them?
Absolutely. These takeaways are really meant to be starting points, prompts to guide your own discovery of good work. Take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't.
Perfect. So let's start with the first takeaway. What is it?
Well, the first one is understanding the difference between good work and a good job.
Can you elaborate on that a little? What does that difference actually look like?
Sure. So a good job It might give you that, stability and financial security, but
Hmm.
it might not have that sense of purpose, that real aliveness that you get from good work. It's about finding work that, truly speaks to your values and makes you feel genuinely fulfilled.
Okay, so it's not just about finding a job with a impressive title or, a big salary,
Yeah.
but about pursuing work that aligns with those things you're really passionate about, work that makes you feel engaged.
Exactly. The second takeaway, it urges us to examine those work scripts, those beliefs about work that we've internalized that might actually be holding us back.
Right, we talked about that before. It's about recognizing those unconscious beliefs that kind of shape our relationship with work and questioning the ones that aren't serving us anymore.
The third takeaway is embracing uncertainty, because finding your good work often means stepping outside that comfort zone, being open to exploring, trying new
It's
things.
about letting go of that need to control everything and embracing the unknown, trusting that the path will reveal itself as you go along.
The fourth takeaway reminds us to trust our interests, to pay attention to the activities that genuinely captivate us, those things that we can just lose ourselves in. They can give us some really valuable clues about where our good work might be.
It's about honoring our passions and letting them guide our exploration, even if they don't seem, practical or conventional at first.
Absolutely. The fifth takeaway encourages us to tap into our positive edge. That means finding motivation from within, pursuing work that is inherently exciting to you, rather than chasing external validation or achievements.
So it's about shifting our focus away from those external rewards and towards that internal sense of fulfillment, that feeling you get when you're doing work that truly resonates with you.
Right. The sixth takeaway, this one's fun. It's embracing what Millard calls the long, slow, stupid, fun way.
I love that phrase. It's such a great reminder that finding good work isn't about instant gratification or, overnight success. It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns and those unexpected detours along the way.
The seventh takeaway, it reminds us to bring our insecurities along for the ride. It's okay to feel uncertain or doubtful sometimes. Acknowledge those feelings, but don't let them stop you. Keep moving forward even when fear tries to hold you back.
It's about being vulnerable
Yeah,
and recognizing that real growth often happens outside our comfort zones.
exactly. The eighth takeaway is seeing your work as it is, cultivating this mindful, non judgmental approach to our endeavors. We celebrate our wins and we learn from our setbacks, letting go of that need for everything to be perfect.
It's about embracing the imperfections that make our journey unique and appreciating the process just as much as the outcome.
The ninth takeaway, it's about being willing to leave money on the table because sometimes pursuing good work means prioritizing our values and our fulfillment over maximizing our financial gain. It's understanding that true wealth goes beyond just money.
It takes real courage to make those choices, especially in a society that often equates success with financial wealth.
Absolutely. And finally, the 10th takeaway encourages us to reclaim our inner ambition. Now, this isn't about chasing external validation. This is about reigniting that passion within us, that drive to create, to contribute, to make a difference in a way that feels authentic and true to ourselves.
It's about defining success on our own terms and pursuing work that genuinely aligns with our values and our
You
aspirations.
got it. Good work is a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to find that deep fulfillment in our work. It's about shifting our mindset, embracing the journey, and prioritizing the things that bring us joy and make us feel truly alive.
I think this deep dive has been incredibly insightful and inspiring. Good work offers these practical tools and perspectives that can really help anyone who is searching for a more fulfilling relationship with their work. Whether you're thinking about a career change, exploring new possibilities within your current role, or just trying to bring more purpose into your life, Mullard's insights can be a guiding light on that journey. Remember to embrace those 10 takeaways as guideposts along the way. Prioritize good work over just a good job. Examine those limiting work scripts. Embrace uncertainty, trust your interests, and discover that positive edge that fuels your passions. Don't be afraid to step off the beaten path. Bring those insecurities along. See your work with open eyes and be willing to put your values above just financial gain. And most importantly, reclaim that inner ambition that drives you to create and contribute in a way that feels meaningful and truly fulfilling. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you're ready to take that next step in reclaiming your inner ambition and finding your good work, I highly recommend checking out Paul Millard's book. It's packed with even more insightful stories, practical advice, and inspiring perspectives that can help you build a life that's rich with purpose and genuine satisfaction.